What is going on, my friends? Mike Walker here. Excited to connect with you in this new module, Module 2. And we're going to be diving right in. I'm excited to share this information with you because this is really going to set the framework for your entire business going forward. All right. So, Module number 2 is all about finding your niche, identifying your message market match. That is what we're going to be going into in this entire module, number 2. Once you've completed this entire module, you have crystal clarity about your role as a consultant or coach, however you want to identify, how to leverage your strengths to deliver value to the marketplace, and know how to define your offer so that your offer actually stands out in the marketplace. There's so many little nuanced things here that we're going to be sharing with you, and this is really going to set the stage for your success through this entire rest of this program and also out in the marketplace when we get you out there and starting to engage in your market and bring some revenue and clients and get you going. Okay. All right. Let's dive right in. So let's start with the basics though. We're going from ground zero here. So let's just make sure that we're all on the same page. What is consulting, right? That's what we're going to be talking about in this lesson, lesson number 2. We're going to be defining what consulting actually is. We're going to define what it means to be a generalist versus a specialist and some of the pros and cons between those two. And then we're also going to end with the 5 biggest mistakes that people make when they're getting started in the consulting coaching space. All right. We're going to dive right into that. Now, Peter Drucker, if you're not familiar, he is considered as one of the godfathers or fathers of modern day consulting and of, really just marketing in general, honestly. And this is one of my favorite quotes from him. He says, "The best way to predict the future is to create it." And that is exactly what you have in your hands right now. With this program, you have the ability to create your future. And that is just a really, really exciting place to be. And no better place to do it, honestly, than in the world of consulting, because you get compensated directly for the amount of value and the amount of impact you have in other people's lives. It's a really, really cool thing. It's very much of a win-win environment. The more you help others, the more compensation you receive. So let's dive in. Let's get into it. And let's define what consulting actually is. So consulting involves providing expert advice and guidance to individuals, teams, or organizations to help them solve specific problems, improve processes, or achieve business objectives. Pretty straightforward stuff. Consultants should not simply provide advice or recommendations, though. What you should be actively doing is working with the clients to create new opportunities and solutions, taking a proactive approach and working collaboratively with clients to achieve their goals. Now, I put this slide here because I want to really highlight the importance of the fact that they are contracting you. They're contracting your brain and your experience. They're paying you for your creativity. So really thinking outside the box and not just, drumming up some kind of regular service offer and it's just a template cookie cutter experience. You're really trying to help somebody transform their results in their life and their business, whatever it may be, and achieve very specific, valuable problems in the marketplace. The more challenging that problem is, the higher your compensation will be for solving it. Now, let's talk about generalists versus specialists. This is an analogy I've used for years, and it holds up well because most people are pretty familiar with these two environments where you have, say, a general practitioner doctor. Okay, let's imagine this guy. He's a busy man. He has 20 to 30 clients per day coming through his office, and he sees a wide variety of people from someone with a skinned up knee to a broken wrist to a stuffy nose, a sore throat, whatever it may be, right? And he sees them all. He provides amazing service. Everybody obviously is exceptionally happy to be able to get his expertise, and he helps a wide variety of people, but he's on his feet probably 12 plus hours a day without question, 5 days a week. And he does quite well for himself, but he's very, very busy. All right. So you have the general doctor there. Now let's flip over to the other side, the specialist. Let's talk about a brain surgeon. This brain surgeon probably works 3 days a week at the very most. And he probably spends no more than 12 to 15 hours at the hospital at any given time. And yet he is compensated 3, 5, or even up to 10 times more than a general practitioner doctor. How is that possible that he could work less and yet make so much more income? Because the problem he is solving is more nuanced, it's more specific, it's more impactful, it's more important, it's more painful, right? So the value proposition that he is bringing to the marketplace is so much more significant. He doesn't need to burn through so many hours to generate revenue. He can actually provide a service in a shorter period of time, and yet the end result is so much more impactful, so much more valuable that he can charge far, far more for his services, his background, his brain, his expertise. Make sense? So the pros and cons, well, there are actually pros and cons, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to choose one right now, right out of the gates if you're just getting started. But I wanted to make sure that you understand the differences between the two, because it will absolutely impact your career as you move forward in the marketplace. As a specialist, you have in-depth knowledge and expertise in a particular area, which can command higher fees and give you a competitive edge over generalists. Specializing can help you develop a reputation as an industry leader, which can lead to more referrals and higher quality clients. Generalists may have more opportunities, though, for work since they can offer a wider range of services, but specialists can often command higher fees for their specialized skills and expertise. Specializing allows you to focus your efforts and resources on a specific area, which can lead to more efficient and effective solutions for clients. You simply just get better and better and better at a more reduced or narrow field of skill sets. All right. And then lastly, being a specialist can provide a greater sense of fulfillment and satisfaction in your work, since you are able to focus on something you are truly passionate about and excel at. One of the things that you'll typically find when people get started in consulting is they just, hey, I can help you with anything. Like, I have so much background. I've done this, I've done that. And they're kind of a jack of all trades. And although that can help open the doors early on, just because you have that many more people you can help, the reality is that you'll very quickly burn out because you're trying to fulfill or offer your services to such a wide variety of people. You never create any true systemization in your business. You're constantly jumping from one field to a next, and you're context switching throughout your day. It gets very, very challenging to ever actually build a true legitimate business when you're kind of offering everything under the sun. So as much as it's very attractive at first to kind of just get paid for whatever you possibly can find out there in the market, the reality is that the quicker you can identify a true niche and specialized field that you really are passionate about, and the problems that you solve there are more impactful or valuable to the marketplace, you'll grow much quicker as a business owner. All right. Okay, now let's really wrap up here with the 5 biggest mistakes that people make when getting started in consulting. I already started to lean into that a little bit. Failing to clearly define your niche and target market. This is something we're going to spend an entire lesson on here coming up very quickly. So don't worry about that right just this minute, but just know that this is definitely a very critical piece of the equation that we're going to be helping you with in this entire course, honestly. Number 2, setting prices too low and undervaluing your expertise. This is a big one I see all the time. And I know Taylor's going to be speaking to this in the later parts of the course here. I'll be touching on some more as well. So just know that this is a topic that we're going to address. You're absolutely at the right place at the right time by viewing this training, because we got you covered in this. Number 3, failing to establish a strong online presence and build a network. Now, obviously, everybody understands the importance of being online and having a presence, but how do you do that? How do you create a strong online presence and build a true network for your business? We're going to show you step by step exactly how to do that. Number 4, neglecting the importance of building relationships and building exceptional customer service. You know, the customer service component is something that when you're first getting started out, I find a lot of coaches and consultants, when they're first starting out, they kind of forget this part. They're so busy just trying to get themselves in the market, just trying to close their first client. And then they get their first client and everything just kind of falls apart, or they're just really kind of all over the place. And the customer experience flails because there's no true thought process put into, once a client is in my doors, what's that experience like? How can I just make it the most awesome experience for that person, right? We're going to show you how to build that out in advance so that you already know exactly what your customer journey looks like, from total stranger to raving fan for your business. All right, we're going to get you covered there. And then lastly, number 5, failing to continuously develop their skills and knowledge to stay competitive in this industry. I probably don't need to tell you how fast it is out there moving in this world between technology and AI and social media and everything in between. Things are moving very, very quickly. And unless you can really stay on the leading edge in your particular field of study, your background, your industry, it's very hard to stand out. And so the quicker we can get you to a place where you're narrowed in, you know exactly what you bring to the market, you know exactly how that's being done, and you know exactly who you're speaking to in the market, the faster we can make that happen, the faster you become profitable and the easier it will be for you to stand out in the crowded marketplace. We have multiple different strategies that we're going to be arming you with as we get deeper into this program. Okay. Awesome. So now let's recap. Consulting, understand the nuances. It will define your messaging and offer. You need to understand what it is that you're bringing to the table for your clients. We're going to go all over that. You'll have absolute clarity here as we round out module 2. Aim to specialize. Start wide if needed, but progressively narrow in. We really want to get you to the point where you are a true specialist in your field and not necessarily just being a generalist out there that can help anybody and everybody. And then lastly, complete this course in full. It's something that you're going to hear us talk about. Every element is designed to fast track you. I mean, compounded wise, between Taylor's knowledge, my own knowledge, this program absolutely has the value and the ability to fast track your success by literal like decades. And that's not an exaggeration. I mean, you can truly turn our decades into a matter of weeks for you and your own business. So definitely I really want to encourage you, get through every single module, complete it in full. If it's in here, if it's a worksheet, if it's a quiz, if it's a slide deck, whatever it may be, it's here for a reason. And I want to make sure that you get the absolute most value out of this course. I'm really, really excited for you to be here today with me through this module. All right, so now what are the next steps? There's no homework on this one. So the next steps are move on to lesson 2.2, and I'll see you over there in the next video. All right, see you there, guys.